Hey everybody, this is herculespetix, founder, curator, docent, and gift shop employee of the herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies. Tonight we're going to be looking at Brain Fantasy #1, a 1972 underground published by Last Gasp. There is a Brain Fantasy #2, unfortunately I don't have it. I wish I could show you both at the same time, but I can't. But this is the brainchild of a guy named Rick Shubb, who I've never heard of before or since. And he edited this and contributes the bulk of pages to it, as well as this cover. As you can see by this cover, he's very Basil Wolverton inspired, this guy. He really seems to love Basil Wolverton. Really great cover. Love this logo. Love the colors. Love the art. Because I like Basil Wolverton. This is a very odd underground because it's completely like PG rated. I mean, maybe even G rated. No, PG. We see a couple nipples. But that's about it. I like this inside front cover from George Metzger. It depicts a bunch of astronauts who have been trapped in an alien zoo. And we see them, one of them's raging. One of them is just crying, sobbing pitifully, while all these aliens gawk at them. So we start off with a Rick Shubb story, Doomsday. Man, this is just great looking to me. It does really look like a Golden Age Basil Wolverton comic. So we're on this strange world filled with artifacts and buildings of a long-dead civilization. Tools and machines whose functions have long been forgotten. And it's populated by these creatures called the Drooms. Now, the Drooms did not create this civilization. They just live amongst it. I guess the people who created this civilization are all long dead and gone. They're kind of simple-minded creatures. They really don't understand or care about all this scientific apparatus lying around. They don't know what it is. They live amongst the buildings, though, and they respect them because to them, whoever created this civilization, they kind of revere as gods. So they're very simple-minded. They just kind of live amongst this dead civilization. Most of them aren't even curious. But there are a few, kind of in the priest class. And they're the only ones who actually ponder history and, science. They go on archaeological digs outside the city. And one day they find some kind of apparatus, which of course they don't understand at all, but they recognize it as something from the gods. And also when they look inside of it, they see a form that is kind of familiar. So they tell the high priest, he's the most important Droom on the planet, and he goes to see it, and there is like some kind of glass window into the machine. And when he looks inside, he recognizes the body of one of the gods. He recognizes the human form from, etchings on the wall, on the temple walls. And so they haul it to the city and put it up, perch it on this small building. I'm really digging this Wolverton-esque art. These little Droom creatures. Just like Wolverton, they're kind of goofy and cartoony looking, even though it's a serious story. Wolverton would have a monster show up that was just kind of silly looking, but still really beautifully drawn. So for the rest of the day, all the Drooms come to, pilgrimage to come see this thing. And then due to the excitement of the day, they all fall asleep at night. Everyone just collapses. Early the next morning, there's this buzz in the air. Word is going around. Apparently, the god has come to life. The body inside the ship. The ship is opened up and he's come out. And we see this guy. And we find out this is Colonel Waller. And I gotta say, even though, he's got this kind of goofy art, Rick Shubb's a really good artist, man. The way he draws this Colonel Waller, pretty damn good. So Colonel Waller, I guess, was in suspended animation for 3,000 years. And he's thinking to himself, So this planet is capable of supporting human life. Looks like we've been successful in finding a new home for the human race. The others should start arriving in a few days. The caption tells us, but the others were not on their way. They would never arrive. So he notices the Drooms, kind of quickly realizes they couldn't have created this civilization, these buildings. So he decides to investigate. To his surprise, he actually finds a public library with a sign in English. So he's like, what? So he goes inside and he finds a book called The History of Man. He's going to get to find out what happened. Look at this panel here. That's amazing. That's a really well-drawn panel. So he reads the book, and basically it's written, he finds the chapter about the time in which Earth could no longer support the masses of humanity who had so abused it. So they desperately were seeking for a new planet to populate. So they built a rocket, and the first astronaut was Colonel Henry Waller. So, of course, this happens all the time in science fiction. Just a few days after his rockets launched for his 3,000-year journey, some scientist invented instantaneous interplanetary transportation, which is much safer than getting in a rocket and just, suspending yourself for 3,000 years. So within, months of this, humans start teleporting to this planet that Waller was headed for, en masse, millions of them. And so they landed on this planet, and they built cities, and also they didn't want to waste a second chance. It kind of became a golden age of humanity for like 200 years. There was no war. They lived in harmony with the planet. They didn't want to make the same mistakes that led to Earth being having to abandon Earth because they fucked it up. But of course, they're still human. So they eventually built weapons. Petty jealousies arose and greed, and they went to a final war. At least the end of the book kind of has grim predictions of this inevitable war in Armageddon. So Waller could only imagine the end of the human race. He realizes he's the only human left on the planet. And then he notices the sound, almost deafening, resembling an insane, chaotic symphony of woodwinds. And it's the Drooms outside. I guess they're called that because their voices sound like a flute. And they were assembled to sing the praises of their living God. But even surrounded by all his worshippers, the god somehow felt very lonely. To be continued. So I imagine this is continued in Brain Fantasy number 2. I hope it is, because I'd like to read more of this. I definitely want to see more of this great art. Next we have Flying Saucer Man by George Metzger. I really like this splash page. So we see 217 BC, we see Hannibal fighting the Romans. I guess this was unrecorded in history, but these 3 UFOs were hovering over the battle, these aliens, and they were viewing this carnage. And of course, they're all saying, these humans are emotionally unstable, such slaughter. The planet has gone mad, end its misery. But the coordinator, the elder here with the beard, he says, no, they are children. Give them time and watch. I do want to point out, very annoying, he doesn't letter this comic. He uses some kind of typeset. But, having said that, this is pretty damn good George Metzger art. It's really because, George Metzger sometimes can be really loose. But this is pretty tight Metzger art. So now we go to 1002 AD. Of course, mankind is still fighting each other, still waging war. And then we see March 1954, we see an atomic explosion. So the coordinator is like, so unchanged. Even though they've got they know the secrets of the universe now, the secret of the atom, they're still a bunch of warmongering, morons. And so it goes. We see mankind getting even more technologically advanced, which just gives them the ability to more easily destroy themselves. And so the coordinator says, I will go down among them. Of course, his underlings protest, but he says, I must go. So he goes down to Earth, and he enters one of the cities, and he pretty much just starts, kind of like a crazy person on the corner you see in cities, he just starts standing on the street, preaching, peace and acceptance. You're all brothers. You should all respect each other. Of course, everyone just thinks he's a kook. He's telepathic, so we see all these humans walking by with all their little thoughts, and a lot of them aren't the best thoughts. They're venal and, whatever. They're human beings. This guy's leering at this woman, and just all these people are kind of pathetic. And it's kind of hurting this coordinator. All these thoughts, this barrage of thoughts is just, it hurts. You can't take it. And then I guess the straw that breaks the camel's back is someone flicks a nickel or penny at his nose. And after thousands of years of, having mercy on these humans, or at least telling his underlings that let's not be so hasty to destroy them. You see this black cloud over his head, and he pulls out this musical instrument and blows a discordant note, and it brings down the planet. It's like the flute of destruction. We see the giant tidal waves, and his underlings and their UFOs quickly try to, rescue him, find him and rescue him before the whole Earth collapses. One of them says, quick, suck him in. That was a weird choice of words. So they do suck him in. And his underling says, he lost his temper. Just because the guy flicked a penny in his nose. And here we see the Earth shattered. I noticed that a lot of these comics, most of these are dated 1970, and this came out in 72. Not that interesting. I just thought, I wonder what happened. What was the holdup? This next strip is really well drawn. This is another artist I never heard of before. We see this kind of jungle setting. We see this kind of leopard leap out and attack a little, a deer or something. And then we see an arrow sink deep into the neck of this leopard, and he falls dead. And we see the guy who shot the arrow, Nimrod, O mighty hunter. So basically, Nimrod, he brings the leopard pelt to this place, World Furs. For money. He sold it. And this guy who works there, the manager's like, some of the richest people in the world are here today. It would be quite a social coup to own a fur made from the skin of the last big game cat on Earth. So he just killed the last leopard on Earth. He says, you felt no remorse in killing it? He says, why should I? It was just an animal. And so we see this woman showing off her new leopard pelt, whatever the hell this is, some kind of cape, frock. The guy asks Nimrod what he's going to do now. He's like, there's too many conservationists around. I heard some of the big colonizing corporation, they're hiring hunters. I thought I might try my luck on a new world. This is some really good illustration. And I haven't even told you who the artist is yet. Sorry, guys. This is Robert Inwood. I've seen that name in like fanzines and stuff. I think he was a big cartoonist in the fancy fanzines of the late 60s, early 70s. And let me double check on that. Yes. This is Robert Inwood. He's good. So he lands on this alien planet. And it seems like nobody's around. He sees buildings. And he says, "Ah, damn, I better radio home. I don't know what to do." And he's about to get on a ship. Oh, I'm sorry, he gets on a ship. And he gets his bow. His futuristic crossbow. The next morning, he's trying to find some game. Trying to hunt up some breakfast. He's about to kill this deer, and all of a sudden an arrow goes into his neck. And now we see who did it. This is just pure EC formula sci-fi. He hunted the last leopard on Earth. So these alien cat creatures, they have now killed him. And the dialogue's almost exactly the same. One of the guys says, "Hey, that was the last of its kind. Did you have any qualms about killing it?" "Why should I? It was just an animal." And we see his hide becoming some kind of frock for this alien model, I guess. This alien supermodel. Pretty dopey story, but really nice art. Now we have Where Do We Go From Here? This is story by David Parker and Rick Shubb, and art by Rick Shubb. This isn't nearly as good as the first story, art-wise. It's not terrible, but it's definitely a notch or two below. So we see this dad, and he's kind of like, I don't know, Archie Bunker type, just cranky old man. His son's a sensitive type. He's like, "You've been sitting there all day, you lazy bum. Your grandmother's leaving. Help me put the luggage in the car." And the mother's just like, "Oh, honey, lay off of him. He's a sensitive lad, This guy's just kind of boorish. He's just kind of domineering doofus." So they're riding on this highway. He's driving a little too fast, and a truck comes out of nowhere. The car drives off the cliff. And now we see each character in the car. We see what's in their heads. So first we see the grandma. And I guess she was a pious woman, because she's like, "There's nothing to fear. I'm going up to meet the saints in heaven." Thinking about all the old friends she's going to get to see. And now we see the wife. So the wife, her spirit rises above her body. She's like, "Oh my God, that's my body. I'm dead. I must return." So she goes to see her friends, and of course they can't hear her. And she's yelling like, "Please, please talk to me. I'm all alone for all eternity." Now we see the son, his death fantasy. And I guess because he's kind of a hippie, he believes in reincarnation. So all of a sudden he's this little fetus, and he's born. Memory of past life fading into That's the thing I always had a problem with reincarnation. It's like, well, if you can't remember your past life, who cares? It's just semantics almost. It's like, yeah, I had a past life, but if you have no memory of it, who cares? And the father now, he is the worst fate. He is ushered into hell, and he's like, "No, not there." We see him with Charon going across the river Styx. And he's basically a throne before the devil. And we see the devil throw him. He throws him into a little thing of molten gold. The thing is, though, the father seems kind of like a jerk, but we don't really know that he's done anything. He's evil or anything. I mean, if my son wasn't helping me lug the luggage, I'd be like, "Get off your ass, you lazy bum. What are you doing?" I'd say the same thing. And so now we come back to reality, and we see that all this whatever moment has lasted an eternity in their heads, and we see the car crash. And then it turns out all of their imagination, all of their imaginings about what will happen after they die were wrong. And we see they wake up in these weird, once again, Basil Wolverton looking weird bodies. And we see these other two saying, "That's odd. I didn't notice those four over there a minute ago. Did you?" "No, they must be new ones." So it turns out, I guess this is the afterlife that we all have to look forward to, where we become weird aliens on some weird planet. Look at this great stuff here. This is the stuff that really reminds me of Wolverton more than these guys. And speaking of which, this one is, basically it's called Epicentripaloidal Funnies and Metacycloidal Diversions. Now this is Rick Shubb illustrating a poem by Tom Stern. I imagine Tom Stern was just his buddy. I've never heard of that guy. But it's a pretty goofy poem. It's like a limerick. It's like, "Now gather round me, buckos, for a story now I'll spin about a most amazing journey to a place you've never been." It's, written like that. And we see the actual art within the panels. Pretty good. But what makes this comic is look at this, this Wolverton filigree that surrounds all the panels. This shit's amazing. Look at this. God, that's good stuff. I would love just like 20 pages of this kind of stuff. Yeah, this poem's pretty silly. But man, it's nice to look at. I love this stuff. So good. And then we have a back cover by, I believe, George Metzger. Not very exciting. And there you go, guys. Brain Fantasy number 1. If anyone has a spare copy of Brain Fantasy number 2, you can contact me in the notes below. I've got a Gmail address. And that would be a great way to contribute to the channel if you'd like to. I can't give you a tote bag or anything, but I will give you my thanks. So I hope you guys like this issue. Very surprising, weird little underground. Just the fact that it's so clean. And I don't know, these stories all could have been in Epic Illustrated or even a Marvel Black and White magazine, But I like it. I definitely like how odd it is. And some of this art is outstanding, actually. So thanks for watching, guys. And I hope to see you next time here at the herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies.